Hey everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to work on some Mame trees that I have. And the wind is picking up, and I hope the wind doesn't mess with the audio, because I hate when wind disrupts the audio when I'm listening to videos. Anyway, this is a Premna, and I have a picture of this tree, which is right here, although a little bit out of focus. That was taken November 22nd, 22. So that's right around Thanksgiving. And this guy, how big is this guy? Well, here's a quarter. So he's only about 3 inches high, 3.5 inches wide. Really nice tree. It had some hail damage where it took this branch off. You can see the scarring. And that really filled in here. So I'm thinking seriously of taking it way back. Every branch way back to almost nothing and regrowing the branches. And I was going to do that in this video, but I've decided against it. So all I'm going to do is some slight trimming. And I've got a lot of confusion in the apex here. You know, it kind of twists around and gets kind of weird. So I'm just not quite sure what to do. And a lot of times when I'm confused, I just wait. No need to, what do they say, fools rush in. Now here's a piece that can come off because it's coming straight against the grain. And see, that opens it up, and by the time I'm done I will have cut it all back. Okay, he looks a little better. And Premna reduce, their leaves reduce tremendously. Because you can see how small the leaves are on this guy. And this is the adult leaf. So, pretty amazing. And I'm going to show you another one, which... Whoa! Ah, timber! Do we get earthquakes around here? I don't think we do. Anyway, I want to show you another guy. And this guy is, well, he don't look like much. It's got interesting nabari, but it's just it just doesn't really have any pizzazz compared to this guy. And the reason I'm showing them together, because it's pretty obvious, they're both in the exact same pot. And this guy was put in this pot way too soon. This guy developed and then was put into this pot. And well, what do I do with this guy? I guess I could do something. But right now I just wanted to show you, look how dirty the pot is too, man. Show you how much kind of bias I have. So there's another Premna. Perfect example of, even though they're both in the same pots, how completely different they look. And then we have this Premna here, which I also have a picture. Because this guy and this guy are what I call brethren. Cuttings taken at the same time, pulled out of the rooting tray at the same time, potted up at the same time, put into bonsai pots at the same time. This is obviously a very masculine tree, and this is a feminine tree. This also got some hail damage right there. There used to be a nice branch coming into here that filled in that 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. However, much like the Premna I did yesterday, in a hexagonal pot, the front can be just about anywhere. So maybe there's a different front. Tell me to stop when you see a good front. That could be an interesting front. If we cut this guy away so we can accentuate the trunk line a little better, that makes an interesting front actually. And oops, man. For now, that's really, you know, there's not that much to do on this guy. This branch here is weak, and that can happen. So I'll pinch all this stuff off at the top here and try to get that guy. That does look like an interesting front. Then I have another one, which is similar to this guy. You see this little scar here, which is actually forming uro. That was the tree. All this here is brand new. Not brand new, but the whole tree just died back. And I thought the tree was dead, so I just like, oh, wonderful. And I still have no idea why. Sometimes they just, just things happen. And then it started to resprout. So now I've got another very interesting little tree. This branch here should be further down like that. But this is another interesting tree, and I've never really quite figured out what to do with him. Probably just need to cut him, like that with concave cutters. But another very interesting little Mame Premna. And I have one more Mame, one Mame Premna. No, actually I have two more. This one here also has had some catastrophic problems. Branch right here just broke right off. And I love the nabari on this guy, the way to right here. But when this foliage was up here, the front of this tree wasn't conducive for right here. But now I think it may be. So bring this guy down as the first main branch. Probably remove this one entirely. And then that little tiny bud right there, right here, can be the second main branch and build a tree like that. And it will have this interesting nabari. And this one I am going to cut that back knob, because it's just not ever gonna, I don't think it's ever gonna sprout. And once again, in a round pot, a front could be just about anywhere. Although you don't want the trunk coming straight at you. You don't want to accentuate the scars. Here's some more hail damage. Interesting hail damage. So I've decided this is the front, and this is going to need some development. And when you put it in a bonsai pot, development slows way down. So I may put it back into a training pot, but not today. So that was, no, I have one more Premna. Should I show him now? Okay. And then there's this one. Yeah. This is a perfect example of what you do if you never trim. What happens. Now look at the trunk chop on this guy. Massive. So this part here was probably 3 feet. Something like that. Chopped him way back, and then I did absolutely nothing. And interestingly, this tree also has 2 epoxied feet, because I got this pot from another friend of mine and the feet were missing, they're broken. So I think I originally had this as the front, but I'm going to do this as the front, so I'm probably going to have to repot it into where both good feet are showing. So I had a friend the other day said she watched one of my videos and I mutilated a tree. And of course what I do is I just cut it way back. As beginners sometimes that can be difficult to understand that you need to do major cutbacks. And this guy is going to get one right now. So I've decided to make this the leader. So I'm going to chop him to about right there. And this will be the first main branch, so I need it to come out like this. I guess I could wire it down a little bit. But we're going to chop him too. And then the back branch, or what appears to be a back branch, there! See, now see how easy that was? And this is going to be what they call a sumo. A pseudo-sumo. A sumo is a fairly new style where the height of the tree is exactly the same as the thickness of the trunk at the base. So this is not a perfect sumo. We could even take it to there and develop this guy. So trim your trees or else you just get that weird legginess. another one. We have another. This is a Nia. Nias develop very slowly. They grow very slowly. They thicken very slowly. And I did this guy on a video on the 14th of February this year, Valentine's Day. Who knew I was so romantic? And it's just barely beginning to grow, but because of the trunk chop right there, and then there's another chop right there, I now have some very nice some very nice movement, and I wired the apex up a little bit, and the first main branch, second main branch, sacrifice branch maybe. It's got decent nabari starting. So that's a Nia, and these leaves are just leaves. They don't miniaturize because this is how big the leaves are. Even if the tree is 20 feet high, the leaves are tiny. So Nia make great bonsai in that respect, but they take a long time to get any kind of thick trunk. You can see some online with huge trunks, but those are almost all collected out of the wild. 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old trees that were dug up out of the wild. And then the next one I have is a Carissa. And this guy needs some trimming. Carissas, this guy has miniaturized some, the leaves have miniaturized some. This is the adult leaf. But it's nice to have trees that have small adult leaves so that the miniaturization is easier. And this guy needs some trimming. It's grown out too much. You'll notice that when I cut, it makes a milky sap that it'll get all over you, which I do not like. And these guys are very closely related to Confederate jasmine, which also produces that milky sap. This guy has some issues. You know, this branch here is coming straight out at you. Should be going that way. But it's got an interesting form. And for some weird reason, Carissas love to just fall over on me. It's got a little bit of reverse taper, thinner here, because there's some scarring. But it's a pretty interesting little tree. And now, last but not least, and this guy is probably the most amazing leaf miniaturization yet. This is a sea hibiscus, also called a maho. I think that's the back. Here's the front. Get rid of that yellow leaf. There, much better. And oh, look at those circling roots. Woo! I think I'll just chop those off right now as we speak. No need for them. Whoa! These guys root very aggressively. He really needs to be repotted, rejuvenated, get some better soil. But what I wanted to show you was the leaf reduction, because this is the adult leaf. So truly amazing how much reduced the leaves have become on this tree. And it's just kind of goofing around. I just stuck it in a pot to see what would happen, and it's really pretty cool. I think it can make a nice tree once we get some more growth moving out. So sea hibiscus, also called maho, and it's a relative of the regular ornamental hibiscus. Actually, so is okra. So that's it for a portion of my Mame collection that is not dwarf jade. I've showed you dwarf jade in the past. So thanks for watching. I hope the wind is not disrupting the audio on this thing. And if it isn't, if you like this video, give me a like, subscribe, and you'll be able to watch these guys develop further. Leave a comment if you'd like. And that's it for this video. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.